A close friend and ally of Vladimir Putin, a man from his inner circle, is coming to Italy. His goal? To exert the soft power of his patron, the dictator, using EU money, all while the same dictator continues the biggest war in Europe since the Second World War, killing thousands of people every day. It sounds surreal, but this is exactly what's set to happen in Naples on 27 July 2025. Valery Gergiev will perform at an event funded by the EU and backed by the authorities of the Campania region. Gergiev is a world-famous Russian conductor. He is also a long-time friend of Vladimir Putin. More importantly, he has been a vocal supporter of Putin's policies for years. That means he endorses the brutal repression inside Russia. Thousands have been sentenced to long prison terms for speaking out or protesting peacefully, and Gergiev has supported this. Back in 2012, he officially backed Putin's presidential campaign.
Уметь держать себя президенту, чтобы со страной считались. Не знаю, боялись ли, уважали ли, считались.
A campaign widely criticized for systemic fraud and which marked the start of Putin's slide into full dictatorship. Gergiev publicly backed Putin's 2014 annexation of Ukrainian territory, land that would later serve as a launchpad for the full-scale war in 2022. Indeed, Gergiev likes supporting dictators. He played a concert in Palmyra, Syria, in 2016, just after the Russian forces helped Assad stay in power. So it's no surprise that in 2018, Gergiev again supported Putin's re-election, and elections from which opposition leader Alexei Navalny was banned from running. Like many close to Putin, Gergiev is also mired in corruption. In our 2022 investigation, The Conductor of Putin's War, link in the description, we showed that Gergiev has been stealing money from his own charitable foundation for years. He also embezzles public funds meant to support theaters and young artists. Gergiev doesn't just support the regime. He's a part of it, a tool of Putin's influence and propaganda. So, when the war in Ukraine began, Gergiev refused to speak out. La Scala Theatre in Milan took a stand, and he was forced to return to Russia. Despite his global fame, his loyalty to Putin made him toxic to the world's leading stages. Now, 3.5 years into the war, with over 1 million casualties, Gergiev is coming back to Italy. His concert is a part of an event appropriately called Un'estate da re, a summer fit for a king. And Gergiev will not be representing Russian culture. He'll be representing his king, Vladimir Putin. Officials in Campania claim the invitation is about cultural dialogue during wartime. That's laughable. Yes, cultural dialogue is important, but it doesn't mean inviting a Putin loyalist and known corrupt figure to represent Russian culture. To do so is either deeply naive or actively invested in this decision. Despite Putin's war, Russian culture remains rich and profound. Since when can one man loyal to the dictator speak for the entire culture? Otherwise, all of the Russian culture becomes forever tied to Putin, his crimes, his war, and this is not an accident. Putin's regime wants Europe to associate Russian culture with his loyalists. It's part of the wider propaganda campaign, trying to present Putin as the face of Russia. But in the world of culture, nothing could be further from truth. Thousands of talented Russian artists left the country before and after the war, fleeing repressions. Others remained silent, imprisoned. Some, like pianist Pavel Kushner, have died in jail. Gergiev does not represent Russian culture, but he does represent Vladimir Putin, and has done so for years. Since 2022, our organization has pushed for EU sanctions against Gergiev. He literally tops our list of priority targets. Canada has already adopted this list, putting Gergiev as number one, just as we did. That's why his participation in a EU-funded event is especially outrageous to us. We have been fighting Putin's dictatorship since 2011. Our founder and leader, Alexei Navalny, was murdered in prison for opposing the war and repression. We know how Putin's regime works. We know that Gergiev's concert is not a one-off event. It's part of a long-running Kremlin propaganda strategy. Russia's authorities look for any chance to put on shows in Europe featuring pro-war artists. Earlier this year, it was the Turetsky choir performing in one of Vienna squares, another pro-Putin act. The propaganda message is always the same. To the Russian public, it is, under Putin's leadership, Russia is so great that Europe cannot do without us. Eventually they will accept this war. It's not a lost cause. To the global audience, it is, everyone who represents Russian culture supports Putin, and Russia isn't isolated. You can still work with us freely. Gergiev's concert perfectly serves the Kremlin narrative. Our message is simple. Don't give oxygen to Russian propaganda. Cultural dialogue must continue, but without known supporters of dictatorship. Otherwise, it becomes propaganda itself. Those who strangle Russian culture should not be the ones chosen to represent it abroad. And finally, we urge the European Union to follow Canada's lead, impose sanctions on those closest to Vladimir Putin, starting with Valery Gergiev.